All right, man. Welcome back to another episode of Agree to Disagree. And if you're new, please subscribe and welcome to Agree to Disagree. We got my boy Jay Lloyd, got Coach B in the building, Greg Williams, OG Pops, and Rick James. Rick's here. All right, man. We already know how we do. We're gonna get into our topic. Craig's got the topic today, so he's gonna go ahead and explain that, and we're gonna get into it. Let's go.
All right, so I'm going to jump right into it, man. I want to know the thoughts on the NBA snitch line. It was real controversial. You got a lot of people going back and forth. I read some stuff today. They said a lot of the players, the majority understand why it's in place. But one thing that came to my mind is, and I heard some different takes on it too before I developed my own opinion. But at the end of the day, excuse me, the NBA is a business. And it's a business operating under some special circumstances right now. And at the end of the day, man, the league it's in their best interest to protect themselves and the players. The league is only profitable and successful when the players are healthy and they're playing. You know, everybody wants to see the stars play, even when the player's healthy and he's sitting out. What do? We complain when that player's not playing. So at the end of the day, I'm gonna tell you straight up, I agree with the snitch line from a business perspective. In general, players probably don't like it, but at the end of the day, like I said before, it's in the best interest of the players in the league. And you got to think about how much money the league has lost right now by not being able to air games for the remaining of the season. Millions of dollars, could be billions leading into the playoffs. And also, too, can you imagine being the commissioner of the owners of these teams that you, at the end of the day, man, you want players to be healthy, you want them to be safe. And I think it's just a protocol at the end of the day in place, just like it is to say you can't speed, here's the speed limit. Most people are going to follow the rules, but you put a rule in place to protect the people who are out there, and I think that's what they're doing. And at the end of the day, man, you if you're a player, man, like if you were a player at the end of the bench in Portland and you sneezed on LeBron, and maybe one of the last years that he get a title, that costs not even him a lot, but even anybody at any age getting a chip, it's just too much risk out there, man. I know it's unpopular, but I'm just gonna keep it short and sweet, man. It's for a business reason, and if you guys are looking from a player perspective, but if you look at it from an owner or a league, official perspective, I think you would have a different opinion as well. So that's my thought on it as of right now.
Fair. Let's go, Jay.
We grew up with the snitches get stitches, man. So it's just tough for me to rock with this all the way. The Players Association did vote yes on it. I personally would never endorse snitching on another player. So I thought of, okay, let's do it, but maybe let's do it a different way. So maybe what the NBA should have done is maybe hire like an actual staff that just polices the bubble. So like they're walking around, they're regular dudes, they don't talk to players, but if they see something, they call the hotline like, yo, we see Dwight Howard, he have a mask on. We see Dwight Howard, no mask. You know what I mean? I feel like that way is better because now you have those guys, that's their focus, rather than I feel like it's going to take away, it's going to distract the players a little bit, man. You got these cats, they trying to play, then they got to look at who got masks and they got to call and all that. So I feel like, I think it's cool. I just wouldn't have involved the players. Maybe like another staff that you hire specifically for that, or just have the coaches and maybe like, the trainers and all that be the people who can call. My only other question with it though, and Craig made a good point. How strenuous is this hotline going to be? If Craig calls and says, hey man, Dame Lillard walking around the bubble with no mask on, are y'all going to really get to the point where y'all suspend Dame Lillard? Or is it going to be like, yo, Dame, come on, man, please. Like
get it together.
Right. They got two players right now that are on punishment for the hotline. Let's check this out. Number one, Rashawn Holmes
Does he play for the
and
Wizards?
Bruno, and this gets better. And Bruno Capiaco. So now, once again, I've never heard of those two NBA players in my life. No shade.
Hey, they're in the league.
I've never heard
Jay.
of
I'll give some credit.
No.
They're in the league, you know.
That's what I'm saying. I ain't there, but I ain't never heard of them. So if we putting them on punishment, I just don't see us putting Kawhi, Bron, all them dudes if there's an issue, man. So that's my only thing, man. I just don't know if they're gonna really abide by that law based on who it is. That's it.
Can I make a quick point?
Yeah, go ahead, Craig.
Yeah, so
Go ahead, Craig.
like Jay brings up a good point. I think that, people are thinking snitching, they're just blowing it out of proportion. But like you're saying, the players policing themselves is not going to get blown out of proportion. And also, too, where the compound that they're at, just like your boy, who was it, Steven Adams said today, man, they're at a resort. You know what I mean? So it's like it's not too many violations they can have unless somebody's walking around smoking a blunt without a mask on or something like that. For the most part, I think it's not going to be as bad as you think. Like the white got caught up. He's talking about it. But also think another point I want to bring up, and I forgot to bring this up, is who you think is going to snitch on Dwight? Somebody from his own roster or maybe a rival? That's something to think about.
Facts. Go ahead, B.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a first for this show of me agreeing with Jared for once. So I'm going to have to – I'll agree with him on that. But, Craig, I disagree with you, but I didn't think about it, how you said about the money standpoint and the business side of it. So I totally understand that part, right? But I actually put on my notes, too, what Jay said. I think the NBA should have hired personnel, whether, like he said, whether it's police officers, security guards, or some sort of agency, something like Jared said. I didn't even think about it. Like he said, just send them out. Don't even communicate with nobody. Wear your mask. You take shifts. Somebody has a night shift. Somebody has a day shift. And they police themselves that way, too, right? And then, like, how reliable is the hotline, too? Like, I think maybe Craig or I'm sure about it, but if I call it, like you said, what if some team's salty? They know within the first 3 games that they're not gonna get into the playoffs. Why would they call and be like, yo, I saw LeBron doing this, or I saw, so and so doing this? Like, and like Jared's point, I mean, working at a school for almost my whole life, or since I graduated high school, it's like you have kids, go in there that that know better, and that you're gonna be like, next time let's just not mess up. You know what I mean? Like you said, like, are they really gonna suspend a LeBron for the 9 days? Are they? I know they said like, this is a rule. If you break it, this is the quarantine you have to do. But like to your point, Craig, if it's the business side of it, is that what the NBA is going to want to happen? So I don't necessarily agree with it. And here's my take, and I was talking to John a little bit about it today. Do we think maybe the NBA wanted to create a drama about it too, with not having fans? Obviously, 3 or 4 months of not having, the build-up of getting into the playoffs, obviously with everything going down. Do you think they want to stir up? Obviously, they've used everything up of, trying to get into the playoffs of, Kawhi versus LeBron, LA versus LA, things of that nature, like who's coming out these. I have a feeling the NBA is like, maybe we could throw this in there. Like, do we really think people are going to be walking around like Jared said, oh, Dwight's not wearing his mask, I gotta call it. Like, it's, to me, it's like, it's, I mean, we remember D-Lo, what he did when he got caught snitching. Like, everybody wasn't with him, you know what I mean? Like, he has his friends now, but, and it's like, I don't agree with it, man. I think I think it's corny. I think too, like the NBA, obviously they did lose a lot of money, but I think they have enough and they're going to make enough where they can, like Jared said, he put it perfectly, you could hire somebody and just have them walk around. But I think, Craig, you brought up one of the better points too of, if you're at the end of the Portland bench and you sneeze on LeBron, now that jeopardizes not just the playoffs, but his health, his family's health, everybody in that bubble. But I think that's a risk that we're talking about it earlier that everybody took. I'm gonna go to the bubble, but I mean, I saw a thing today where nobody in that bubble has tested positive, right? Knock on wood, obviously. So obviously they're doing a good job of it. But I don't. If that happens, I think people's how they really feel. Like if LeBron got sneezed on on purpose, we all know what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? It's not gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna call this hotline and this dude sneezed on me. No, people are gonna, it's his health at the end of the day, and he's got to go back to family. So, I don't agree with it. I think, like I said, I think maybe it might be the NBA trying to stir up some, more drama. Hopefully, because like no fans are going to be in attendance. Nobody's really going to have home court advantage. What can we really do to try to get the players going against each other? So that's my take on it.
Okay, solid. Go ahead, Pop.
Well, here we go. Time to get some of that popology. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Man, I agree with the line. I'm going to tell you why. I agree with the snitch line. Because for the NBA, there is so much at stake. Craig brought up a very valuable point. The NBA has lost a lot of money this year. Not only with the pandemic, we still realize they lost money. They lost probably a boatload with that China thing. I mean, that you cannot get back. The revenue from China, the TV revenue and all that. They lost a lot doing this. And I think when it comes to time, and some of this is starting to show where, some of these, some of these players, some of them are just sometimes, they're spoiled and they full of themselves. So much is at stake. Today I heard where, people were saying stuff, like Dwight should get kicked out of the bubble for what he done. And, when you're a veteran like Dwight, you gotta know what's at stake. I'm like, Jared, when they named them other two dudes, I'm like, they ain't playing no way. So it's no biggie. But we all know about the snitching. It's really to protect the one thing about sports moving forward. And so far, the NBA has done a great job. Like you said, BG, nobody has tested positive since they've been under the bubble. Everybody has tested prior to coming in. But since they've been in the bubble, and everybody's really waiting to see how to make this work. Not getting off topic, but that's why the NFL is struggling, because they really have no protocol. Adam Silver is really—
I'm going to pick you back on that after you're done, Pops.
Adam Silver is really doing a great job of trying to, because he knows, man, I'm probably 3 players away of having to probably cancel this thing. Like you say, if Damian Lillard does it, dang, come on now. Now, I realize they didn't want to be in first place, but since you're there, come on, dang, because we need this revenue. And about, and the snitching, we know how that snitching thing go. I mean, think about it, and not to bring it up, but come on, look what snitching got D-Lo.
All-star.
But snitching. No, God, if you don't stop. I'm just saying, we know how NBA players feel about the snitching. Here again, I got to be the one to bring it up. God rest his soul. But how hard everybody got on Cole when he snitched about Shaq. Come on now. See, so it really, like this thing, it really boils down to really the business. And these dudes got to stop being spoiled. Like I noticed, because they at the Disneyland resort or the Orlando resort, whatever, everybody's taking pictures of their little room. I'm like, well, how come you don't show me your little room that you got in New York? Why you don't show me that one? Why you don't show me that suite you got in Vegas? Because that's a whole different level. But, all this, I feel like I'm at Motel 6. If y'all don't stop all this money y'all done lost, y'all better get it together and start just hooping. Be safe. Because if the NBA can pull it off, here again, everybody's going to go, Adam Silver did a great job. And it's that close, man. So you can't, like you say, man, you sneeze on LeBron, you might get jumped on.
So that whole Lakers roster is going to run out there. What? It's
and Dwight knew better, man. I mean, Dwight know better being a veteran. Some things you just can't be loosey-goosey about. This is about business. And Adam Silver, man, like, dude, we lost way too much in China. We lost his TV revenue from the rest of the season. We got to get something back. Because if we go to a strike season, y'all going to be complaining. But I need y'all to be disciplined. Just be disciplined for 2 or 3 months, and then we're out of here. It's hard, but let's get this done and be on our way. I'm done.
You wanted to add something?
Can I jump in?
Go ahead.
Yeah. So, and I think this goes to Craig's point too about, the business side of it. If you really think about it, when all this went down, right? I'm gonna take it to a different topic and then bring it back in. When everything went down, the NFL had just finished its season. I want to say like a month or two after, right? They had the longest time to try to figure out a plan, and now you have their players coming out. Not even players, their superstars coming out. I don't know if I feel safe. I don't know if like we're gonna start training camp here. There's no like safety protocol. Like, what are we doing, right? So to Craig's point, now like, and Pop, you brought it up too right now. Now the NBA in such little time figured out, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this. Obviously, they had a little bit more sense of urgency because the season was about to get to the playoffs. But it's still, if you go in there and like you said, Pops, you're this close to be in that league that you always, the NBA is always far above beyond everybody. They're everything they do, right? If you're that close, but then you still got guys like Dwight Howard, like people like that might mess it up and might give it a black eye just because they can't be like, all right, let's just get through it. We're almost done. You know what I mean? So I think that's to Craig's point too. Their mindset is so much. We've lost so much money. Don't go in here and mess it up. We're like you said, we're right there already. And like I said, you have a money corporation like the NFL who makes billions, and they don't even have anything. They just said, "Oh, we have a new helmet that covers your mask." It's like, okay, but what is maybe they do have something that they haven't publicly came out with it, but it's that. And you brought up the NFL, Pop, so that's why I was thinking about that earlier. But I think, like you said, the NBA is right there, and everybody always follows. Once the NBA did something, every other league started like, all right, let's go this way, So I see what you guys.
Even hockey has a system in place. Hockey got a system, and they're rolling. So, and here's the thing where it gets real tricky, because this why I got to applaud Adam Silver really big, because there are places where the NBA really could have made a bubble. They could have made a bubble. They could have put a bubble in New York. They could have put a bubble in Los Angeles, and they definitely could have put a bubble in Las Vegas. But if they had put a bubble in those three cities or states,
it's a wrap.
The season be over. It would be. If they would have put all the players in Vegas, this season is over. Canceling. Because none of them would have had any discipline in those major cities. But if I throw you somewhere where you really don't want to be, I throw you in Orlando or Oklahoma where you ain't got nothing to do but concentrate on some hoop. But if I throw you in LA, New York, Chicago, Vegas, this season's over. You kiss it goodbye, because they don't have the discipline. And right now, man, guys got, stop being spoiled. Stop really thinking, right now, because this pandemic is serious. So they need to stop. They really need to take it serious. And I think they do, but they feel like, well,
the majority of these dudes grew up with worse.
Yeah. So
right.
Wow, I'm already missing my cut for the TV money. Now I want to miss the rest of it. Man, you know how much money LeBron James is losing because of China? Them dudes are losing. I forgot who it was. I don't know if it was Westbrook or no, it was Danny Green. I think Danny Green or Ray John on the Lakers. They had a media set up to make, I think, $2 or $3 million when they went to China. $3 million in his pocket to go do an interview. Got thrown away because why?
Yeah, but I feel like it's a lot more media driven too. You know what I mean? Because you look at these guys when they're not in the bubble, and they're doing a bunch of stuff that they shouldn't be doing. I mean, off the subject, Jay Williams, you guys remember the guy from Duke? He was riding a motorcycle.
Right.
I don't know if you guys. He was riding a motorcycle and ended his career riding a motorcycle, and that was in his contract not to ride a motorcycle. And his career was over. So all the money, all the bonuses, he lost on that. I say all that to say, I just feel like in this situation, I feel like your teammates and your staff are going to hold you a lot more accountable. Like, they're not going to let the guys drop the ball on this. When we come too far, we're trying to win. So I just think teams with the team camaraderie that they have, they're not going to let guys float like that. So I just feel like maybe the NBA did this as a way to just show the media that we're really, 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 really doing everything that we can to ensure that we're going to be safe. Because I feel like they're responsible enough in a bubble in Orlando, like Pop said, where I don't feel it was necessary. But again, you want these people to tune in and watch. So we want them to know that we are taking every precaution necessary. So you're going to feel comfortable watching our programs because we care about what's going on in the world. So,
can I add something real quick? And that's a great point, Jared, because guess what? Man, these dudes want to play. Number one, these dudes want to play. And let me use a personal, selfish example like Cody. Cody's been working out, practicing. He want to get on that soccer field bad. He's like, man, what am I doing all this stuff for? I mean, so I can imagine dudes when they're talking about cutting their salary, dudes having social stances. These dudes want to play.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, like I said earlier, the majority of dudes are going to, like Lloyd said, are going to follow the rules. And if they're following the rules because they want to win a championship, they're gonna keep their brother in line as well.
Exactly.
And the most important point, I think you made it, Pops, or Brian made it. I think that we can say, because there's 0 positive tests, that you could say that this was part of the solution. You know what I mean? Because I'm all for guys policing themselves, man. I mean, players policing each other. Number one, because like I said, you're not gonna have too many knuckleheads out there doing something that stupid. And if you do, there's guys that, like you said, Lloyd, there's guys that they're gonna be guys that not even on the radar. That's probably injured reserve guys. You know what I mean? So, and also too, man. And it comes down to, and I want to make this very clear, man. I'm not for snitching, but in this case, it's too personal. Because if I shake Lloyd's hand, not only am I risking him, but I'm risking his business, his family, his kids. So it's bigger than that. It's not like I'm snitching on Lloyd because of what he's doing after Game 7 in the playoffs. You know what I mean? That's different when it comes to player safety, when it comes to health, when it comes to me jeopardizing the whole locker room and the training staff, the coaching in the front office. It's a bigger deal than that. At the end of the day, I think it comes down to, it's not a snitching thing, and I hate the way that it's labeled that way, because of course the players are going to say it like that, and the media is going to take off and run with it. But it's all about the player safety, and I think the NBA has done a great job, especially after watching all the soccer. We talked about this in the last show. I mean, two teams were on the field, 2 dudes from each of the teams, or 1 dude from each of the teams was tested positive, and they had to call the game off while the team was on the field. For the NBA to have, I would say, a few less players than that, and to have the whole James Harden, Russell Westbrook, stuff going on a week ago, and now you have 0 players testing positive. I show is just another way of how NBA is so progressive, and Adam Silver always, to your credit, Pops, he always makes the right move.
Yeah, he really tries to make, regardless of what's going on, he tries because, he
listens to his players.
He really knows what's at stake, and trying to implement what he's doing. He also understands that it's hard. Like, that's why everybody's so ticked up at the NFL, because, dude, you could have been doing this. You guys got way more money than everybody. Mm-hmm. And so, but when your pride gets in the way, you start getting the tunnel vision and things like that. Because reason why I applaud Adam Silver, even to this day, I think I've only heard Del Morey talk one time this season. One time, that was about. They like, you under the radar. Forget, don't you say nothing about nothing. Because we have to keep, you have to keep evolving. And he knows how serious this is, man. And the way, I think you just brought up, like, the carelessness. When we think about it now, we look at the situation with Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. I can understand Rudy Gobert. I can understand why Donovan was, because, dude, you were so reckless. You were just flat out reckless. Yeah, I'm going to be hot. If you wouldn't have been reckless, okay, but you thought it was a game, and you found out it wasn't a game, and then it start. Oh, I'm sorry, man. You gotta, it's serious stuff. It's a business thing, and you just gotta know right now because of what at stake. You gotta have it, But I think, like Jay said, if you would have had a staff in place, and, to be able to go, hey, security, hey, Dwight's out here with it, but Dwight, whoever, they out there with a man, but they gonna be like, man, you security, be quiet. But now if Adam Silver step up and he drive up in the dog court, yo, what are you doing? Oh, Dwight gonna stop. Dwight, he gonna get the security guard problem. But Dwight gonna go like, oh, Adam, my bad. He gonna, they're gonna go through all that. So, I just think right now, for what is at stake, it has to happen. It has to happen. These dudes want to hoop, man. They want to hoop. I looked at that. I don't know if anybody watched the TBT tournament. They were kicking teams out if a player got tested, kicking the whole team out. And, I watched it all the time. And, for me, it's like, hey, right now it's the right thing to do.
I think two things. You guys are all making great points. One thing about the NFL, while it's a little off topic, but it's kind of relatable. I think me and Craig were talking about it yesterday. I think organizations like that is a little bit harder, man. You're dealing with way more players. They can't play. And Craig said it too. I believe he's the one who told me. They can't play 3-4 games in 1 week like the NBA can. I just think it's different. But like Brian said, in any other situation, kind of like the social justice stuff, the Colin Kaepernick thing, the NBA does respond to things a lot better. But in this sense, like the bubble sense, I think it's a little harder for like the NBA. We brought up hockey. I think it's a little easier for hockey. I think the NFL has the hardest time based on their sport and how much contact it is and how many players there is to kind of just pick a bubble and be like, all right, this is your area. This is what we're doing. But to the snitch line, I disagree with the snitch line or the anonymous tip line, but I do agree with the motive behind it. So the whole point, like Craig said, is to keep everything organized. It's a business. You have to have stuff set in place. But like Jay said, I just don't think this was the right way to do it. At the end of the day, these dudes all know each other. They're all men. So if
It's a brotherhood.
if you're not wearing a mask, yo, you got to put a mask on, woo, blah, blah, blah. Now, if we have a problem after we sit there and we tell the dude multiple times to put a mask on, then we go to somebody. But to just call it an anonymous tip line, it just seems a little sneaky and weird to me. But I do agree with the motive behind it. Yeah, that's my only take on it.
And you're right, John. I'm going to say this real quick. The only problem, because it does tie, all of it ties in together. The one problem that everybody's harping on, like they do have the bigger problem. But I think the one problem that everybody's really, because they're really dragging their feet, and everybody kept saying, all the players have been saying, we need a protocol, and they haven't gotten it.
Like even just a plan. Like they don't even have, like, that's my thing. Like I get that. I get it. It's going to be harder for them, but they don't even have like a plan. You know what I mean? Like they haven't even gone to their players association and been like, this is what we think we're trying to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're just sitting around like, oh, let's see what happens. Yeah.
That's true.
I think too also, just to build on what all you guys are saying, it's a little disappointing that the Players Association will vote on this, but yeah. You got Chris Paul. I'm looking at it now. You got Chris Paul as the president. You got Iggy as the vice. Anthony Tolliver, Bismarck Biaku, Malcolm Brogdon, Jaylen Brown, Kyrie Irving, C.J. McCollum, and Garrett Temple. So I just feel like, did they really take a pulse of what the players wanted? Or did they just feel like, all right, and maybe y'all can answer that question. Did they more just feel like, all right, this is what we're going to do and that's it? Because we haven't really had any players yet that I've listened to or interviews who have publicly supported this decision. All the players are like, I'm not really messing with it. But the Players Association voted it in.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that
it's
was
tough,
it.
Jay, and it's tough because like say you playing against a rival team. Not saying that anyone would do it, but say you playing against a rival team and you trying to get any advantage you can get. Oh well, LeBron ain't walking around with a mask. Like how credible is that hotline? You can easily have
Mm.
5 or 6 people call and text about and complain about the same person. But so how credible is it?
About the Players Association giving the go ahead, are people going to talk and everything? A lot of players are being quiet. They're being very quiet. They're mumbling. I think what's going to happen when this season is over, when it's over and done, I really think then you're going to hear a lot of players express their opinion, because it's going to be some more arguing back and forth, because it's going to be, after we get through with this, then we got to go to, when does the next season start?
Hmm.
Then it's going to be a rebuttal to that. Well, we just got through it, yada, yada, yada. So the players, then I think everybody's going to really voice their opinion about how they felt about the bubble. And the guys that didn't make it in the team, they're going to express their opinion. And then it's all going to come out. It's all going to come out, because guys got to be careful right now. And then when it starts back, the guys are going to be careful, because some of these guys are free agents. Some of these guys are going to be, so some of them are going to have to really be careful, because, okay, we started the season, we got a champion. The next argument going to be, when do we start the next season? And the NBA is really, I could say, I think right now the NBA is carrying the whole sports world, because everybody right now want to see how they're going to do it. How they're going to do it. If it's successful, then, but just like you guys said, I think football is going to be the hardest. I mean, even baseball, they kind of, they doing their thing, but the NBA is really, I think everybody really want to watch and see how the NBA comes out of this.
Yeah, man. I think it was an important topic, man, because it's something that definitely needs to be addressed. You got to have rules and guidelines, like Craig said. He harped on it's a business, man. So, just in my opinion, I don't like the whole anonymous tip line. They could have called it anything else. They could have been like, well, this person saw you. It's just something about anonymous tip line that makes it quote unquote snitching. You know what I mean? Like Brian said, they're all a brotherhood in that bubble. They all know each other from workouts, playing AAU, or they all know each other, man, because they all live that same lifestyle. But at the end of the day, it's our take. It's your opinion. So in the comments, if you're watching, um, voice what you think, man. If you agree with the hotline, or if you agree with kind of what Lloyd said, they should have put something else in place. But it's always easier on the outside looking in, right? But to wrap things up, this is Agree to Disagree. Got my boy Jay Lloyd, Craig Williams, got Pops and Rick, and Coach B. And I'm John. Until next time. Until next time, man. We out. Peace.